Right, so two benefits of a partnership are, so one, greater access to capital. For those who are around when I was doing partnership, which was not very long ago, if you all remember, most of those partnership questions, um, you would have seen like each partner would have either had a capital investment. Because in order for someone to become a partner in a business, they must have a capital or they must invest in the business. Some people would invest cash only, others would invest equipments only, and some would invest some cash and equipment. So, because of that, there's a greater access to capital because capital is what is normally it's one of the things in business that is used to operate a business. So in other words, let me bring it to life. If two persons come together to open a clothing store, and let's say they don't have a good credit score or the bank refused to give them what is known as a loan. Well, they can use they could use their what do you call it, their capital, the money they invested, if it's money alone, and purchase stocks or items to sell. Otherwise, they wouldn't have anything to sell to do business. So capital is important for business operation, up and even for expansion and those things. So that's one of the benefits of a partnership. I should ask you all, would anybody like to tell me another benefit of a partnership? Nobody. I don't know if anybody's writing. Share responsibility. Yes, that is definitely an answer. So good response there. So I would put that down here. So shared responsibility is correct. So again, in comparison to a sole trader business. In a sole trader business, the sole trader have to do everything pretty much, right? Even if they hire workers, they cannot rely on their workers to do anything excess of what they hire them for. Now there are workers who may volunteer, but in other words, that business owner cannot depend on them to do extra, right? So that owner will have to do everything else pretty much. Now, if a sole trader don't even have workers, that sole trader will have to do every single thing that is required to be done in the business. Now, when there are partners within a partnership, they can share the responsibilities. So then the workload is less, right? And then the benefits are a bit more than a sole trader. Okay, now they only ask for two benefits. I'll just give one more. Another one is right. So because again it's more than one person, each of them would definitely have their strong points or their strengths and weaknesses, right? So in terms of their expertise or their experience, they would be bringing possibly different experiences, right? One might be, should I say, more passionate or more experienced in accounting, while the other one might be more passionate and experienced in sales. So again, that ties back to shared responsibility. but at the same time, that knowledge as well. So certain things that one don't know, the other one would know. Okay, so moving on to just now, let me check and see, because I said I was going to correct this one time. Let me just check and see something here. Mm, okay, why am I on my phone? You'll just give me a minute, please. Sorry about that. Yes, sorry about that. So let me move on quickly here one time. So we have Avril and Bernice formed a partnership with the following agreed terms. So one is interest is to be charged on drawings at the rate of 10% per annum or per year. Another one is partners are entitled to receive interest on capital at 12% per annum, which is per year again. The third agreement is Bernice is to receive a salary of 78,000 per annum or per year for holding a managerial position in the partnership, and the remaining profits and losses are to be shared in the ratio 3 to 2. So that means Avril will get 3 based on how they wrote their names were written. Well, 3 out of 5, because normally when you have a ratio, you have to add the two figures and then put it as a fraction. So Avril will get 3 out of 5, or 3/5, while Bernice will get 2/5. Okay, so based on that information, we have here, 31st May 2021, the following information was extracted from the books of the partnership. So you have Avril, Bernice, capital accounts, current accounts, drawings accounts. Okay, so these are the balances in each of their accounts. When I reach um when I reach to this part, I will explain these things or re-explain them. So this is requiring using information above for Avril and Bernice. Prepare the appropriation account for the year ended 31st May 2021 using the form on page 20. Okay, so the appropriation account, which has to do with how the profits are going to be shared. So here we go with that. Alright, so normally we would write, why somebody's calling me again, man. Seems like everybody's just calling me. I cannot take these calls, man. Okay, yes, sorry about that. Avril and Bernice, appropriation, I should write this more in the middle. Mm, appropriation, appropriation account. When did you say for the end? Okay, for the year. Right, so we have our title. Okay, so normally we would start off with the net profit before anything is appropriated. So how much is the net profit? Where is that information? Mm, What's right in front of my face? In net income for the year ended 21st May. Right, so it is 152,000. Let me write in dollar signs here. Dollar signs. Um, right, so net profit. Some people write as net income as well before appropriation. Hmm. Okay, so 152. All right, add interest. Just now, hold on. Why am I adding interest without looking to see if there's actually any interest on drawings? So yeah, let me double check to make sure. Right, so they did say that interest is to be charged on drawings at the rate of 10%. And they did give us drawings. So yes, I need to add interest on drawings. And if you all forgot about that, interest on drawings is a charge to the partners when they withdraw money, and that money is paid back to the business. Therefore, it is added back to the net profit, right? It will increase the net profit, in other words. So add interest on drawings. So starting with Avril here. So 10% of Avril's drawings was 17,000. So I'll Google that just now, and Eunice also 10%, but of 46,000 Eunice will have withdrawn. Okay, so heading over to, let me find this calculator here. So percentage is always out of 100. So 10 divided by 100 multiplied by 17,000 will give us 1,700, and 10%, just 10 over 100 again, multiplied by 46,000 this time will be 4,600. Okay, so now to add up the total interest on drawings. So adding these two figures will have given us 6,300 for the total interest on drawings. And again, we have to add that figure to the net profit before appropriation, because this money would have gone back into the business because it was charged to the partners. So I don't know if any of you have any questions about this. If you have any questions about anything, if there's anything that you are unclear about, you can feel free to let me know. Okay, so and check this chart. No, alright, no problem. So the next thing is to appropriate. So let's appropriation. So we can either go with interest on capital or salaries. So I'll go with interest on capital So interest on capital is usually used to indicate how much profits each of the partners will get out of their capital investment into the business. So partners are entitled to receive 12%. So Avril, 12% of Avril's capital 60,000, And Bernice, same 12%. Bernice capital was 110,000. Okay, so now to calculate this, again, percentage is always out of 100. So we divide this by 100, multiply by 60,000. Okay, so I'm getting 7,200. And for Bernice, 12%, 12 over 100 multiplied by that amount, we end up with 18,200. Okay, so the total interest on capital is going to be 20,400. Okay, welcome back, Uniki. I didn't realize that you dropped off. I knew that song just came back on. Okay, so um, the next thing we have to appropriate is the salary for, who was it again? Bernice. Yeah. So Bernice was getting a salary of 78,000 because Bernice is working as a manager, it looks like, so managerial position. Right, so the total amount to be appropriated will be 20,400 added to 78,000, which is 98,400. Okay, so then we would subtract this figure from the net profit before appropriation to get how much profit is remaining after the appropriation. What is the excess profit? So profit after appropriation is 59,900. If anybody have any questions up to this point, you can make sure and ask your questions, of course. Okay, so the last thing we have to do in this appropriation is to share the remaining profit. So share of remaining profit, and that is where this ratio comes in. So Avril, remember Avril's name came first, so 3 out of 5. Again, you supposed to add the two numbers in the ratio, and that will give you the total out of which both of them would get. So Avril's getting 3 out of 5 or 3/5, and Denise will get out of what? Out of the remaining profit. So the remaining profit is this figure here, the profit after appropriation. And Bernice will get 2/5 of that same amount. Okay, so time to calculate that. 3 divided by 5 multiplied by 59,900. Okay, so I am getting 35,940. Now, some persons might just take this figure and subtract this and get what remain. I mean, yes, that could work too. But continuing this way, 2 divided by 5 multiplied by 59,900 plus 23,960. Okay, so the total amount that was shared supposed to end up being the same amount here. What? So, what did I do wrong? Please verify. Huh? It's weird. Let me double check it. 3 divided by 5 multiply. Supposed to get back the same figure. Okay, so I'm getting that back. Unless it's Excel, give me some weird stuff. Multiply by um, okay. So why am I getting? Let me try the calculator and see if I will get the correct thing. Because I think it have to be Excel giving me some weird stuff. 23,960. Why am I getting that bigger figure? No. I don't understand why. Just I'm guessing that bigger figure. So let me try one other way. Let me take 5,990 and divide it by 5. Right, so if I divide that equally by 5, which is the denominator of each of the fraction, that's what I'm getting. So if I take that and multiply by 3, what will I get? Oh, so I wrote the wrong thing here. So it's my fault apparently. And let me divide it here by 3 and then multiply it by 2 just to make sure this is correct. Okay, so I guess it was not guess, it actually was my error. I think I wrote on the wrong figure. So it's not correct because we're supposed to get the same figure here and there. And the last thing to do is to subtract them to ensure that all the profits has been appropriated, or should I say shared out to whoever needs to get them. So if you have any questions about this, let me know. In the meanwhile, I'm going to check on WhatsApp for those who have sent me the answer to this question. But if you all in here have any questions at all, you could tell me. How much marks was this out of? This was out of. I'm seeing a mark here. Okay. 7 marks. Okay. So. mm, Um, okay, I don't know if anybody else sent me anything, any answers, but I just replied to those who sent me the answers or who I saw send me the answers from last week's test. Okay, so moving on. Good evening, Malik. Welcome to you. Moving on to the next part of this question. So it says state what the opening balance of Avril's current accounts indicates. So this is their current account information. And for Avril, we are seeing debit. Now, it is normal or more natural to have a credit current account. Just like how capital accounts are credited when a business owner or business owners invest into a business. Similarly, in terms of the current account, let's say, for example, once a partner has money in their current account, it will have a credit balance. So that means Bernice have money in his or her um, current account, but Avril doesn't, right? Avril, technically, some people call it a deficit, or in other words, you could also say technically that Avril, based on that current account figure, it could be considered mm, that Avril is technically owing the business. Okay, so that was out of how much marks? I think that was out of. But in other words, it just means that Avril doesn't have any money in her current account at all. So let me see what those who sent me their answers would have put for that. If anybody have any questions about it,